right, it's the MMA analyst back at it again, and this time joining me is the always exciting Dean Thomas. How you doing today? Thanks for your time.
Hey, what's up, man? Everything is good, and I'm glad to be here with you.
No, thank you very much. Now, let's get right down to it. Recently, I mean, the big news, obviously, you dropped down to 145. Are you still at 145?
Yeah, I dropped down to 145 about a year ago. Just kind of testing the waters. The thing is, man, like with the game these days, man, all these guys are a lot bigger. So, I felt like I had to drop down to 145. I dropped down. I had a couple hard cuts. I actually missed the cut, and but now I think I got it down to a science. I competed at 145 at the World Grappling Championships. And so, that was a really easy cut for me. So I got it down to a science. I think 145 is essentially going to be my home that I'm going to be fighting at. Obviously, if there's some other opportunities to come along at a heavier weight, I'll take them. But I like fighting at 145. I feel like those are the fights for me.
All right, now your next fight is supposed to be with Ricardo Mayorga. Is that true?
Well, they had talked to me about it, and I told them I'll do it. So hopefully we can get everything signed on a dotted line. I'm more than willing to fight that cat. If he wants to step up and get demolished in front of millions of people, I'm the one to do it.
All right, now what I had heard is that basically you said that his boxing was garbage and that you go out there and you would outbox him. Would that be the game plan that you would go into a fight like this with, to outbox the boxer?
I think so. I mean, that's one of the game plans that I can use, really. In fact, I was just talking to Howard Davis just yesterday. Just talking to Howard Davis yesterday, and he was actually giving me some tips and some pointers. And, Howard Davis, he's come from a long history of boxing. You know what I'm saying? He was, gold medalist back in '76. I mean, he's been around the game for so long. And, when I hear words from him telling me, yeah, you're a better boxer than this guy, you could knock this guy out, I mean, that's giving me a lot of confidence. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely want to get the help from Howard to go into this fight with the right game plan. And, and if he thinks I can knock him out, I know I can knock him out. So, I ain't really even concerned with Mayorga's hands.
I hear you. Now, I mean, obviously, the idea for most people would be to just go in there, put the boxer on his back. So, I mean, like, obviously, if it came down to it, you could likely just take him down and submit him or ground and pound him. But is this something that you would just do just to prove a point, just to show, you have what it takes with your hands? Or if it came down...
Exactly, but I mean that's kind of the point. I mean, like the nature and I told myself a long time ago I didn't want to fight any scrubs. You know what I'm saying? Because to me it's like, what's the point going out there and not being challenged? I'm at this point. I'm at a point in my career where I don't need to fight bums and cans. So, I mean, obviously, if I wanted to have a jiu-jitsu match with a scrub, I would just, I would pick a fight at a bar and jiu-jitsu a guy at the bar. So, like, for me, if I'm going to fight, I want a challenge. And it makes no sense to go out there to just take him down, submit him, take him down, mount him, put him in a rear naked choke. I mean, do you really? I mean, people don't want to pay to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to want to pay to see that because they already know that could happen. I mean, and I know that could happen. So, for me, I feel like in order to give the people what they want, I need to go out there and make this a fight. So, like, it makes no sense for me to just go out there, take them down, and tap them out because that's already a given. That's the likely scenario that could happen. So I need to make this a fight and give the people what they want.
Like, what do you think makes up what a fighter needs to do? Like, how much of it is go out there and get the win, and how much is go out there and be entertaining? Like, obviously, you go out there, you stand and bang with them. Maybe he catches you. Who knows? Something happens. You get a loss, which you easily could have possibly won if you just would have went out there and did a guaranteed go up, take him down, ground and pound, 35 seconds, fight's over. But, you're playing to the crowd. You have, like, how important do you think it is to go out there and give the fans what they want as opposed to just going out there, getting the win, get the check, go home, everything's all good?
Well, there are a lot of I think that all depends on the fighter. And, like, for me, personally, I'm at the point in my career where another win doesn't necessarily matter for me because, like, I'm at the tail end of my career. I mean, I've been fighting for a decade. I've been fighting professionally for a decade. So getting another W over a boxer, that ain't gonna do nothing for me. That ain't gonna raise my stock up any higher. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna make people want to watch me that much more. People are gonna want to watch Dean Thomas fight because I'm excited, because I'm going to put on a show. So for me, it's more important for me to put on a show and be entertaining than to get a W over a guy like this. I mean, that's, this isn't for a title. This isn't, nothing that's going to really be a feather in my cap by, just going out there and just getting an easy win over this guy. I need to put on a show. I want people to want to watch me fight by putting on a show, being a spectacle, being, just being that, being that much more than just a guy who's going to come out there and just get a W over a guy who knows nothing on the ground. That's not even all that important to me. So it's important for me to go out there. So like for me, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like when I get the paperwork done, I don't even really want a win bonus because that ain't gonna do nothing for me. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna show everybody I'm gonna beat this guy. I'm gonna beat this guy at his own game, and I'm gonna make it exciting.
Have you started training for whether it be this fight or any other fight? Are you currently training, or are you always in a state of training?
I just fought in World Extreme Fighting 2 weeks ago. I won that fight. I did the World Grappling Championships about a month ago. I took a silver medal in that.
Nice.
I train year round. I got 2 academies, and I teach at another. I'm the head coach of another American Top Team. So I run 2 American Top Team gyms, a head coach of another one. I train year round. I'm constantly in the gym. I'm a gym rat. I'm constantly dealing with guys. So, like, honestly, me and my orga can step in the cage right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's always the type of shape I'm in. We can step in the cage right now, and I give them the business.
All right. I mean, that's definitely sounds like the place to be as a fighter, you know what I mean? Rather than, having to cut off 15 pounds of fat and get back into shape.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, fighting for me is different. Like, some people, they train because they want to fight. It's different for me. I fight because I'm already trained. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm already at the point where I can fight. I'm never really out of shape to where I can't fight. I could fight anybody on a 3 weeks notice, anybody. And that's not because I'm out of shape. I need 3 weeks, but that's just because I need mentally time to prepare and get there. You know what I'm saying? But at any given point, I can fight pretty much anybody. In my order, a guy like my order, I can fight him right now. But, some of the top level guys, I would probably need 3 weeks to mentally come up with a strategy to beat them.
Right. Now, you were talking about American Top Team, and I did just want to bring something up, just maybe get your opinion on your outlook. What do you think about fighters fighting guys that they train with, training partners? What do you think about that? And what was the situation back in the day with yourself and Chris Lytle? Were you both under the same banner? Like, how was that working out, and what do you think about it now?
Yeah, it depends. It depends what's on the line as far as fighting guys that you're friends with and training partners. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes at the end of the day, you kind of know how that fight's going to play out. I mean, if you train with a guy every day, you already kind of know how that fight's going to play out. So is it important to you? Like, if you think you're going to lose that fight, how important is it to you to show up and get beat up by a guy that you already know you're going to lose to? If this guy's been beating you up in the gym every day, is it worth going out and getting beat up by that guy? Or are you that much of a competitor that you can say, you know what, I still got something left in me that he ain't seen yet in the gym that I probably can give it to him. So, like, that's just with training partners. Now, as far as fighting friends, at the end of the day, this is our job. This is a business. There's no animosity. There's no hostility. I like to think of myself as being friends with all the guys I fight. But when it comes time to fight, it's business. You know what I'm saying? Like, in fact, I would probably rather fight a friend than a guy I didn't like, because at the end of the day, we going to make money. And, that's kind of what this is about, is making money and putting food on the table. So, if I don't like this guy, why am I help him out and fight him? So I'm only going to fight guys that I kind of like. If this guy's going to make, 50 grand off of a fight with me and I don't like him, then I ain't trying to help him make 50 grand. Let him go somewhere else and make 50 grand.
Now, one of the big fights a lot of people want to see and they're talking about, or at least a little bit ago, is obviously Anderson Silva versus Lyoto Machida, but they said they never fight each other, etc., etc. Now, something you did mention was, something that I hadn't really thought about. I'm sure a lot of other guys hadn't thought about, which is, I'm sure these guys know, based on when they train together, what the fight would actually look like. Do you think that that's a situation with everybody where, I mean, if you train with the guy I mean, what he's good at. He knows what you're good at. You know how it goes down most of the time in the gym. Like, what would make it change in the fight?
Yeah, well, like those two guys ain't gonna fight because they got options. I mean, honestly, like they'll say, "Oh, I ain't gonna never fight him because we friends," and so on and so forth. But that really has that they can say that because they have options because there's plenty of fights for them to fight. Now, you put it to be a situation where they don't have options and they're broke. Believe me, those two guys are going to fight, and they know exactly how that fight's going to play out because they've been training together for a long time, probably. And in my opinion, I actually think Anderson Silva will probably get the better of him, but who knows? I don't know. I haven't been in a room with them guys to know how it would turn out. But
Right.
it's easy to say that you ain't going to fight a guy when you have options. They had no options, and when they were broke, they would fight.
And now, just since we're on that topic, real quick, Lyoto Machida versus Shogun. It happened a few months ago. Who do you think won that fight?
Um, it's hard to say. I mean, obviously, it's easy to say that. You can kind of say that the Shogun won the fight. I think more so that he did anything was he exposed Machida and let everybody know that he was human. Because prior to that, he seemed a little unbeatable. And when you expose a guy like that who seemed unbeatable, and you can kind of put him to a test, you kind of lose a little bit for him. So that's why I think everybody's saying the Shogun won the fight. Because you kind of lost a little bit of respect for Machida, because now you said, oh, this guy, you thought he was gonna walk right through him. Obviously, he didn't walk right through him, and he gave him problems. So now you start looking at Shogun like, oh man, this guy, he won the fight. But at the end of the day, Machida's still the champ. He's still, on the scorecard. The eyes of the judges on the scorecard. He won the fight. And you know what they say: in order to beat the beat the champ, you really got to beat him down. I'm gonna still say Machida won the fight.
All right, all right. Now let's get back to what we were talking about before with being in shape, and it kind of played into something I wanted to talk about now with you, which was people from other sports, and it also plays in with Ricardo Mayorga's situation. People from other sports trying their hand in MMA. What do you think about those guys coming over from the other sports and just trying to do MMA, jumping into MMA?
Well, I think it's great, really, because it just really goes to show you how that MMA is really taking over. Because at the end of the day, physical combat comes down to two guys fighting, and at the end of the day, just it's innate as a human, in our human nature for us to want to defend ourselves and be good, and and just protect ourselves and protect our surroundings and our environment, and it comes down to fighting, and this just proves it. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys. Coming from other sports, Herschel Walker coming over, and you got all these football players coming over trying to test themselves in this arena, and it just goes to show you that MMA is the sport of the future. In my opinion, it's going to take over. It may not take over, football and all that, because it's a little easier to get behind some of the teams with the cities and everything like that. But as far as one-on-one combat sports, this proves it, because you don't really. I mean, you did a little bit see some guys try their hand at boxing, but this proves it that this is just the ultimate in sports when it comes down to hand-to-hand combat, one-on-one combat. And this proves it. All these guys coming over, showing. I'm actually flattered by the fact that these guys are coming over trying to do our stuff.
I hear you. You mentioned Herschel Walker. Now, I had heard that he scored the highest physical on anybody that had ever taken that test, because I guess he's just an animal. Every day wakes up 2,400 sit-ups, 1,200 push-ups, eats once a day, sleeps 3 hours. It's some kind of craziness, split personality, all type of craziness. But what do you think the situation would be with somebody who is in such good shape, but their fighting game might not be really up there? Do you think that people can go out there and win fights based on their athleticism and maybe learn how to fight later?
Well, I'll tell you what. Well, right now, looking at Herschel Walker, he's got, slave genes. You know what I'm saying? Direct descendant, man. Because anybody who could do the stuff that he does is just evolved as a human being to be, just genetic freak. But at the end of the day, to be a good fighter, you can't just be in good shape, because And I think that's a misconception that a lot of young guys get, is that, they say, oh, I'm training for a fight, and you see them lifting weights and running and spending most of their time in the gym. But at the end of the day, before you get tired, you're going to get knocked out by a guy who has more skill than you.
Right.
So you have to know how to fight. So, like, you can get away for a little while with being, being a little bit more athletic than most guys and just being in good shape. But that ain't going to happen because, you can be in great shape, but you're going to get knocked out or you're going to get submitted and not be tired. So you have to know how to fight. No matter what the situation is, skill always trumps being in shape.
All right. Now, your next fight, that should be March 6th against somebody. Is that the situation?
Yeah, March 6th, and they've been talking about my other guy. I'm just waiting for him to, sign the paperwork.
Right. And that's Shine Fights, and that's their third event.
That should be for Shine.
And now, anything you want to say to your fans? You got a website? Is there like a real Dean Thomas on Twitter and Facebook, or just a bunch of fakes?
Oh, no, Dean Thomas is definitely on Twitter. That's DINTHOMAS, no space in between Dean Thomas. You follow me on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Actually, I took mine down, man. It gets crazy, man. I don't know how people stay up with their Facebook stuff. I need to hire somebody to do mine. I think Georgel has somebody he hired to do his, but I may need to do that. But right now I'm on Facebook. I just use my school, Treasure Coast American Top Team. So actually it's Treasure Coast ATT. So if you want to link up with me, Treasure Coast ATT. Other than that, if you want to find me, I'm on the mat. You know what I'm saying? Call American Top Team and get my number to American Top Team, Port St. Lucie. I'm on the mat. That's how you find me.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. And, great interview. Definitely enjoyed the time with you. And definitely good luck with your next fight against whoever it may be. I definitely know that they're going to have some issues, whoever it is.
Oh, for sure, man. I want to appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to talk, man. You guys are great. If it wasn't for you guys, man, people would think that we're just these barbaric, human cockfighters out there doing our thing, man. So I definitely want to give you a shout-out for giving me the opportunity to express myself and to let everybody know what the deal is. So, man, I appreciate the interview.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, man. This is Dean Thomas, and this is MMA. It's important.